Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the United States Leaders Show. I am your leader, Ronald Russell Farnham. And recently I've become a secure creditor, but I want to talk to you today about what is happening as of this morning, January 20th, 2021, in the year of your Lord. And remember, we don't really know what year it really is. They just made up a new calendar 2021 years ago. Now, I was working out at the gym this morning and I looked on the treadmill television, and on there, before the Biden inauguration, it read across the screen that Joe Biden's first executive order is going to be a nationwide mask mandate. A nationwide mask mandate. So, let's talk about what the definition of nationwide means. Because I was discussing this morning. The people who work for the US of A Corporation in Washington, the District of Columbia, use legal English. And they also have harnessed the mass media to use for their benefit, to use words of art, word trickery, and legal English to play tricks on you to make you think that they're saying one thing when they are really saying something else. So, what's the definition of nationwide? Does nationwide just mean Washington, the District of Columbia? Or the United States of America Corporation, its employees, and all of the foreign territories that it has bought? Because it does not mean the United States. The United States is a series of countries, 50 separate sovereign countries. So, before this whole mask mandate, so-called nationwide, occurs, our recourse and remedy might be to file an injunction with each and every attorney general of every state or country. So if you're in California or any other state, that's really a country that you're calling a state, I think it's time that everyone get together and file a class action injunction or separate injunctions with the state attorney general. And an injunction will put a stop to the mandate of mask wearing. When I was over at Universal Studios in Orlando, they have signs up everywhere making people wear masks or implying that you're supposed to wear a mask. And then they would point to their face and say, your mask. And one of their slogans was, excuse me, but I'm going to have to ask you to put on your mask. I'm going to have to ask you to put on your mask. Now, they're not actually asking you to put on your mask. They're wording things in a certain way. And I heard it said so many times, I'm going to have to ask you to put on your mask. I think that they were instructed to say it that way because I don't think they're allowed to give that command, put on your mask. The way they said it is, I'm going to have to ask you to put on your mask. And then if you were walking through the park, they would point at their nose and say, your mask, sir, I'm going to have to ask you to put on your mask, or sir, your mask. And they would point to their nose because they want you to cover your nose and mouth. Now remember, wearing a mask causes carbon dioxide toxicity. Plain and simple. You're breathing in your own carbon dioxide. It's trapped right there in the mask. What I've done, and I'll show you this. What I have done when I've had to wear a mask at Universal Studios so that I don't get the air, carbon dioxide trapped, is I've done this. I'll take this, and then what I do is I fold it in half like that so that these two parts, the top and bottom, come together. just like that. So I fold it evenly in half. Okay. And then I put it on like that. Now, and I pull it down over my nose, and you'll see that now it looks like it's covering my nose and mouth, and it is. But I can blow the carbon dioxide right out the bottom. So when I'm walking around and I don't want to bring my own carbon dioxide, I'm just blowing the air right out of the bottom. And that way I'm not getting carbon dioxide toxicity. So there's going to come a point where you're going to have to pick your battles. But I think our first battle, and believe me, this whole mask idea is absurd. The vaccines, absurd. It's a crime against humanity. Remember, they want to kill us. I put it in my movie, Hollywood and Vine, that they want to achieve the first guide on the Georgia Guidestones, which is to maintain a worldwide population under 500 million, meaning they want to murder 6.5 billion people. And if you've been seeing some of these post-vaccine videos that people are putting out, I saw one lady, she had taken the vaccine and she was moving like this. People are hospitalized. So I don't trust the vaccine, and I'm not going to take the vaccine. Now I have relatives who are going to take it, and they're just brainwashed sheeple. And they even trusted Donald Trump that he was going to save us, but he bought the 300 million vaccines that are going to be forced into you. So what we have to do is we have to do two things, and that's what this video is about. Number one is an injunction. Contact your state attorney general and start filing an injunction against the Joe Biden executive order for nationwide mask wearing, and find out the precise definition of what they're calling nationwide. You know, they use words that we're used to just hearing, oh, nationwide, we think that means the United States. Well, that's not necessarily true. Nationwide might just mean Washington, the District of Columbia, not the United States. If they were going to specifically say the United States, then they ought to say across the United States, in every state of the United States. But they're not allowed to make an executive order that specifically states that. Your governor, he's the one that has to pass that order and direct it to the citizens. Now, what I have recently done as part of my solution is I have sent my birth certificate back down to the U.S. Treasury in Puerto Rico for deposit for credit to the Treasury, so that now the Treasury has the credit of my birth certificate bond and I can offset all of my debt. I sent down a 1040 voucher. You'll see in this video, I put in here that I brought over the notary, a notary who notarized all my paperwork, and then he sent it out registered mail via a notary presentment, which is I recommend, a notary presentment. That's where the notary mails it. They use their address and they act as your attorney. Basically, it's in effect as if they are your attorney. They are sending official correspondence, registered mail, and he notarized everything. And that made the documents official. All right. So injunction, become a secure creditor. You got to file the, you need to email me for the paperwork so that you can control your name. That way it doesn't get on any vaccine lists, and you can then email your local county clerk, the county recorder, clerk of the courts, and say, listen, here's, I've got control over my name. I filed my power of attorney general with the clerk of the court, along with my security agreement that controls my name, and no one's allowed to use it without paying my fee, and my fee is very steep. So you need to get that done. Email me at the Ronald Show 2011 at Gmail, and I will send you the documentation and the instructions on that part of it. Now, the second thing I think we all need to do is do what's called a mastermind. We need to mastermind the reality that we want, the one we wish to manifest into reality. I'm listening to Kevin Trudeau's Your Wish is Your Command video on YouTube, and I've downloaded it, and I'm cutting it down from 13 hours to probably, I'm hoping, under 5 hours. I might even get it down to 1 hour, because he does repeat a lot of information. And the basic premise of it is that when you picture something in your mind, that you're seeing as if it's real. Like, let's say we want, as a collective, to go back to normal. No masks, restaurants open again, people thriving, and a new reality now where everyone's a secure creditor. We don't have to work these menial jobs for low pay. There's no war. There's no poverty. The US of A Corporation has backed away, dissolved, and is no longer part of siphoning illicit funds in the form of taxation from us and stealing our labor from us. Everyone has deposited their birth certificate bond back to the U.S. Treasury for credit, and you're a secure creditor. You've secured the credit of your birth certificate bond, taken it away from the Federal Reserve and the U.S. of A Corporation. Now that is a picture in my head that what you do is we can mastermind it. You get that picture in your head of that world that you want, your own world that you want. What do you want? What can we really want to manifest as a species? And then you add thankfulness and exuberant, either joyful or angry emotion, because a strong emotion is going to send that mental picture out into the universe. And then you have to expect that it's going to happen. And now what we can do is if we all form the same mental picture, and Art Bell did this. If you ever listened to Coast AM with Art Bell had his listeners all focus on it raining in the desert one night on his show. They masterminded it. The Kevin Trudeau video, he talks about how the elite, the bloodlines, those who think they're genetically superior to the citizens, which Donald Trump does believe that, believe it or not. And Kevin Trudeau even says it in his video that I'm editing down, and I'm going to leave that quote in there. He said it, and I believe it because he was a member of the Brotherhood, Kevin Trudeau, and the Brotherhood is made up of Skull and Bones and Yale members and 33rd degree Masons. Well, what they do as to form a mastermind is they get together physically. You know, you've heard about the Bilderberger meetings. You've heard about Bohemian Grove meetings where these Freemasons and the elitists, they get together in the same room and they form what's called a mastermind. Not only do they have their individual minds that they're using to create with, but getting together physically and pondering on one idea or several ideas actually physically forms a collective mastermind over the whole set of minds. So what we can do as a species, as the people who are under the tyranny of the corporation that's posing as a government in Washington, D.C., is we can virtually form our own mastermind. If you make this video viral and we pick a whole week where every day at noon, you think about the picture of this reality that you want, where we're all free and back to normal, and you say, thank you so much for making this world a better place again and getting rid of those psychopaths in Washington, D.C., and giving me the credit of my birth certificate bond. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if we all do that together, then as a mastermind, we can affect a reality that we want, that benefits us, that doesn't benefit the elite who want to murder you with needles and who want to poison you with masks, and they want to steal your labor in the form of taxation. So, an injunction and a mastermind, deliberate, creative process that we all do starting today. At noon, at 1, whatever time. Think about it every hour, on the hour, with emotion. Watch this video to listen to my wording. Write it down. When you write it down, it makes it even more powerful. And then read it out loud and say, this is what you want. And email me for the documents so you can control your name so that it doesn't get on any kind of a list. And then email your clerk of the courts and tell him to take your name off of any lists because you've secured title to your name and nobody can use it without your written permission or without paying a very steep fine or fee. Because remember, you want to be honorable. You're an honorable living soul who will conditionally accept all offers for your fee schedule. If any so-called authority comes at you and offers you something, fine, I'm prepared to stay in honor by conditionally accepting all of your offers for my fee schedule. All right? Let's do this. Peace.